Hey everyone, Tendra here. This week we had a lot of stuff going on. To start off with, we had time walking going, which is always great for leveling a few more characters. And this time around, I got my Undead Warlock to level 70, which gives me 2 Warlocks to level 70, and I got my Night Elf Druid, which gives me 2 level 70 Druids also. That's a grand total of 32 characters to level 70. I have 12 more to go and I'll have my full roster done, so I think the next time walking that pops up, I'm actually going to try my Drakthir. We've also been working on the Secrets of Azeroth, so every day I have to donate a little bit of time to that, but it's really fun. The new patch also hit this week, and with that we get an abundance of stuff to do. Dawn of the Infinite, the 5-man dungeon, became a heroic. We also got Storm Surges, and we got a few more Heritage Armors that we could collect. I've been having a good time doing all this stuff. And finally, the biggest news we heard this week is patch 10.2 is up on the PTR. I installed it the other day, and I may go over and check it out. So I had a pretty full week. But I did manage to get into my normal farms, so let's take a look at them and see how I did. So like always, the first thing I went after was the Tusks of Mannoroth, and these drop in Siege of Orgrimmar off the final boss. So I headed over there, made sure my raid was set to heroic, and I headed back to Garage. Once I was back there, I took him down, and of course the shoulders didn't drop again. So I will be back here next week, and hopefully my luck is better then. Next up, I headed to Antorus, the Burning Throne. Out of here, I'm after the Scythe of the Unmaker. I made sure my difficulty was set to Mythic, because I'm still farming the red version, and I headed in. I worked my way back to Argus the Unmaker, and I took him down. And again, the Scythe did not drop. So I'll have to come back here next week, and I'll just keep my fingers crossed and hope I have a little better luck then. With both my transmog farms out of the way, I started on my mount farms. And the first mount on my list was the Hellfire Infernal. This drops out of Nighthold, so I headed over to Nighthold, made sure my difficulty was set to Mythic, because I'm after the red version of this also. So I worked my way back to Gul'dan, and I took him down. And I didn't see it drop, so I'll come back here next week, and I'll keep my fingers crossed to hope my luck is a little better then. This left me with just one raid, and that was Ulduar. Out of here I'm farming the head of Mimiron, but of course on my way up there, I stopped and looked for the time-lost Proto-Drake. I didn't see him again this week, so I'll just have to keep hunting for him. But once I did get up to Ulduar, I headed in and I worked my way back to Yogg-Saron. I made quick work of him, but again, I didn't see the mount drop. So I'll be back here next week, and I'm going to hope my outcome is a little better then. So with no luck in any of my raids, I decided to start my 5-man mythics over in Battle for Azeroth. First up, I went to the Underrot. Out of here, I'm farming the Underrot Crawg. So I headed over there and worked my way back to the Unbound Abomination. I took him down, and of course I didn't see the mount drop here either this week. So this is another one I'll have to come back to next week. After striking out on everything else, I decided to do my last 5-man. But this one I do a little bit different. I do it as a multi-character farm, and what that means is I take 13 characters every week to the same instance until I get the item or mount to drop. This week I'm doing King's Rest. I'm after the Tomb Stalker out of here, so let's take a look and see how I did.
You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate. But Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now, his master gathers. You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate. But Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now, his master. You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now, his master. Time to bleed! You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Mine! You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now, his master can withstand my blade! You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now, you have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now, his master gathers. None can withstand. You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now, his master... You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. You have broken Zul's hold! I serve that swine no longer! You have freed me from a cruel fate, but Zul is merely a puppet in a larger plan. Even now, his...
Well, with 200 attempts, it seems like I'm going to be back here next week. Let's hope my luck is a little better then. And even though I had no luck in any of my raids, I still did manage to get 3 new mounts, so let me run them down for you. So the first mount we have this week is the Duskwing Ohuna. This is a pretty simple mount to get. You just need to collect 1000 Dream Surge Coalescences. These you can get in a variety of ways. You can kill mobs, normal and rare. You can do world quests, and you can do the Dream Surge invasion that pops up every half hour. Just keep in mind that you only get these out of the zone that has the Dream Surge currently active. The next mount I got was the renewed Magmammoth. This one's even easier than the last one. As long as you participate in the Dream Surge event that happens every half hour, you will receive charred elemental remains. Once you receive 20 of these, you just combine them and the mount's yours. And finally, the last mount I got was the Ivory Trader's Attic. This mount is sold by Tadakiaka. He's located in Ascara. And for this mount, you'll have to gather up 3 rings from 3 separate 5-man dungeons. The first ring you need drops in the no-cut offensive, and that's the Thundering Downburst ring. It comes off the second boss out of there, and it is tradable if someone in your group gets it and is willing to trade it to you. The second ring you need drops in the Azure Vaults, and it's the Unstable Arcane Loop. It comes off the first boss in here, and again this is a tradable ring. The last ring drops in the Algathar Academy. This is the Platinum Star Band, and it drops off the first boss in here, and yet again this is a tradable item if someone in your group is willing to trade it. Once you get all 3 rings, you can head down to the vendor, and you can trade for the mount. And finally, if you're wondering this week, I'm wearing the Eternal's Curator's Protectorate. This drops out of Uldir, and you'll be able to get all the pieces inside of here. There's 4 versions of this. There's Looking for Raid, Normal, Heroic, and Mythic. The sets during this time were armor class specific, not class specific, so you could do it on a warrior, a death knight, or a paladin, and receive credit for all the items. But hey, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. You can click on subscribe. Thanks for coming by and watching it. I'm going to send a hi out to my best friend, and you all take care.